Today is Thursday, August the 28th, 2025. Welcome to the MustGrow Biologics Q2 2025 earnings call with CEO Corey Giasson. Management will be presenting a review of the quarterly results, be providing a business update, and then we'll take questions from the audience. Corey, welcome. How are things going?
Hi, Martin. Everything's been going good. Great to announce our first ever second quarter earnings call.
All right, why don't you take it away?
Great. Yeah. Well, no, thank you. Thank you everyone for taking the time to join us today. As I mentioned, it's Q2 2025 earnings. This is our first ever earnings call, and we look forward to going over some of the results with you. Before I begin, though, I'd like to draw your attention to our disclaimer. It's your typical forward-looking statement disclaimer that can be read in detail on our website at mustgrow.ca, and that there's forward-looking statements that are going to be made in this presentation and during the Q&A session that we'll have at the end. Q2 2025 is in the books, and as you would have seen on our financial statements that we released yesterday, we had sales revenue of $2.8 million, gross profit of almost $600,000, resulting in a gross profit margin of 20.9%. Now, this is up from the 14.3% that we announced in Q1 2025, so that is going in the right direction. And this also resulted in a net loss of $1.1 million, which was down from the $1.6 million that we had in Q1 of 2025. So second quarter margins were going in the right direction versus the first quarter. And as the first half as a whole, you're seeing $6.6 million of sales, gross profit of $1.1 million with a margin of 17.1%. So again, this is our first foray into sales as the company evolves from being an R&D based company with no revenues to a company with revenues. And $6.6 million for our first half of the year is good for us and our shareholders. And we're excited about growing it even farther as we go forward. And then, hopefully next year we're able to show you quarter on quarter or year on year results, not just quarter on quarter results, and compare year over year. So what really happened in Q2 2025? Well, first of all, as you noticed that our gross margin improved from Q1. This was due to three things, sorry. First of all, the US tariff issues that we witnessed in Q1, we had some foreign exchange volatility that really negatively affected that margin to make it below 15%. We had less volatility, obviously, in the second quarter of this year, which improved the margin dramatically. In addition, the Nexus BioAg product mix shifted to more of a higher margin product line. And I think most interestingly about this quarter is that we had TerraSate sales. We actually tripled the sales of what we did in 2024, just over this one quarter alone. And we're quite excited about that. We've actually sold out of inventory, and we're really excited about the demand that's starting to build up with TerraSate in the US. We have mentioned in the past, and I'd like to remind everyone that Q2 and Q3 are shoulder seasons for the Canadian agriculture. Farmers will go and plant their crop in Q2. Now they're in the field in Q3 to harvest that crop. So the inputs that they put into the field in Q2 you don't really see significant sales during the Q2, Q3 period. We're expecting Q4 sales to be the strongest month yet for Nexus. The strong months are going to be during the winter, Q4, Q1 months to start building up that sales channel, starting to move that product into farmer sheds, into retailers, and that so that we start to really see the sales driven during those periods. So for Q2, what you're seeing here of $2.8 million of revenues is during the shoulder season. Going forward, as I mentioned, Q4, we're expecting that to be the strongest quarter of all of them. And then for TerraSate sales ramp up, we were estimating that ramp up would happen potentially in the second half of 2025 or 2026. While we're in it right now, we're really excited about the demand, the orders that we're seeing, and our goal here is to start making product to fill those orders. You would have seen this slide in the past. This is kind of our 2-year outlook for our milestones and catalysts. Again, starting with TerraSate, we're in that initial ramp up period here right now. We ran out of inventory in Q2, and we've got orders to fill for Q4 specifically is when we want to have that product into the market for the farmers in the US to start putting this product down on their land. So we're really looking to build up inventories here for the second half of 2025. But more importantly, is also building up that inventory for 2026 as we start to see this ramp up take shape. For Terra MG, our biofertility product, where we're working on our registrations in Canada and the US, work continues to be done. Not much I can update there, but again, we in Canada, unlike in the US, we were able to do large-scale farm trials before a product is registered. And we started that with Nexus BioAg last year with the Bio Advantage trials, what we call the BAT trials. Those results would have came out last year. And again, this spring, farmers put more of our product into the field to test it on canola and pulse crops. And those results will be coming off with this harvest. So we are starting to build up that demand. And once the product is registered here in Canada with the PMRA, we want to have product in place so that we can hit the ground running. So inventory is built up to hit the ground running here in Canada. So I think that's one of the cool things about the Canadian market is that we're able to build up this demand with this Bio Advantage trials through Nexus and start to show farmers how this product works before it's even registered. With our work with Bayer, things are getting real busy there. We continue to have meetings with them. They're doing lots of great work to get the product registered in Europe, Middle East, Africa, their territories. We're looking forward to potentially collecting a milestone payment before the end of the year, and continuing to push forward with them as they work to get the product registered in those jurisdictions. Part of that is also going to be defining the production aspect of it to make sure that they have product in place to be able to satisfy the demand in their territories. With Nexus BioAg, again, we brought this asset on at the beginning of the year. Majority of the sales that we've reported over the first half have been Nexus BioAg sales. So that's really allowed us to become a revenue-generating company. And again, very synergistic acquisition. The products, third-party products that we're supplying into the market, we're going to be able to supply right alongside our proprietary products, Terra MG, once we have it registered here in Canada. Again, they're doing the Bio Advantage trials, not only for Terra MG, but for some of the new product lines that we brought in this year. We made some announcements on that. So again, farmers would have put that product into the ground in Q1, Q2 during seeding. And now we're going to start to see the results of that. And it's starting to look very good for not only Terra MG, but some of these other third-party products, these new third-party products that we've brought in under the Nexus sales division. And then with these positive results, we can then look at the Q4, Q1 next year before seeding to start moving some of these new products into the market. And we're really looking forward about doing that. So again, you would have heard me say this numerous times. I think one of the most exciting things about our company is our tight capital structure. We're able to go and generate revenues without having to go and build a plant, without having to go and put boots on the ground in Europe, Middle East, Africa to go and get registrations. We're utilizing Bayer to go and do that work, to spend that money. We have partners on the production side. We're excited to work with some producers here right now that are producing products for us right now, Terrasante. They're in the manufacturing business of products like ours, and we're very excited to work with them now and potentially form long-term partnerships with them to produce product not only for ourselves but for partners around the world that are going to need our proprietary products. This is all without having for us to go and spend a significant amount of capital. We can look at the Nexus BioAg division, again, third-party product sales without having to go and own those products, which means that we can generate potentially significant revenues as we go forward and have still a tight capital structure. And that's very important to us as management because we're shareholders of this company, and we want to continue to see this company grow through driving revenues, through driving the bottom line, and eventually, hopefully, paying out dividends to shareholders in the future. So it's exciting to announce this second quarter results, and I look forward to taking any questions that have come in. And I'd like to thank everybody for sending questions along, and hopefully there's more during the call.
Thank you. You sold out of TerraSante inventory during the quarter. How much sales in the quarter were left on the table or were you were not able to fulfill due to lack of product or inventory availability?
Yeah, there was no sales during Q2 left on the table. We were able to satisfy all of that demand during that quarter, so we were able to move it in with the retailers or the large customers that we're dealing with. Uh, where we're seeing a significant demand buildup would be for the second half of the year, orders that are coming in, and we're trying to produce enough product to start satisfying that demand.
Can you talk about your production strategy and how difficult it is for your third-party manufacturers to build up the inventory for you?
Yeah, I mean, our production strategy, I guess for first and foremost, for us, it's kind of the chicken and the egg. We wanted to see these orders come in before we start producing. And I'd have to say they've come in, they've exceeded our expectations initially here right now. So for us, it's trying to catch up a little bit. We're fortunate to be able to produce with some contract manufacturers that are familiar with in the space. They have the equipment in place. They're already producing similar type products, and we're able to utilize their know-how to produce this initial production. And I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have this product in place for the second half of the year, or at least a proportion of the demand. But more importantly, we're looking into 2026 and starting to build up product for then, which we think is going to be a great year for TerraSante in the U.S. And I guess this is the initial production. We're also in discussions with these groups about long-term production and expanding their capabilities to potentially produce more product for us in the future.
With these higher production levels, will that positively impact your margins as you grow into more higher scale manufacturing?
Yes, exactly. I mean, for us, our proprietary product lines will have higher margins than what we're seeing with the Nexus product lines.
All right. Did quarterly revenue meet or exceed your expectations?
They met our expectations, I believe, in terms of Nexus, but they exceeded our expectations in terms of TerraSante in the US. Um, again, we didn't know when the ramp up was really going to start to happen. If it was going to be later this in 2025 or in 2026. I think what we witnessed in 2020, or sorry, in Q2, is the start of that ramp up, and now we've seen significant orders.
In Q1, you did 3.8 million of revenue, and this quarter you did 2.8 million. Was this due to the slower shoulder season, which is Q2? But despite the lower revenues, you were able to post higher margins. Was this due to TerraSante?
Yeah, well, first of all, I think for Q1, it was a good start for us. It wasn't a great quarter for our expectations. Unfortunately, we had to deal with tariff issues, and there was, we believe, some demand or some sales, but potentially were lost due to the tariff issues. In addition, we had a foreign exchange issue during that quarter where we've seen the Canadian dollar drop significantly, and many of the products that Nexus sells are based on U.S. dollars and that are purchased in U.S. dollars. So we would have seen that margin get eaten up in Q1 due to the foreign exchange. What we're seeing in Q2 is, again, we don't have the foreign exchange issues. It is a shoulder season versus Q1, so we're not seeing the higher revenues, but we're seeing a more positive, or sorry, higher gross margins percentages due to not having the foreign exchange issue. And then we're also seeing a mix of the higher margin products, including TerraSante, which is our proprietary product as a part of that.
With TerraSante, can you comment on which regions or maybe which crops are showing better or greater demand for that?
Yeah, so for we would have seen significant sales in California. Um, California would have been the majority of it, but there's also product moved in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho.
Can you comment on which crops are showing the most, or farmers for which crops are showing the most interest or demand?
I can't go on a crop by crop basis, but I mean, California, that's going to be your fruit and veggies. Washington, Idaho, Oregon, that's going to be potatoes.
The products that TerraSante sells, can you comment on, is it very concentrated with just a few products making the bulk of the sales, or is it a broad portfolio of a little bit across a lot of products?
For Nexus, it's across the product line, and then again incorporate TerraSante in there. So I think as we go forward here, you're going to see not only the third-party products that we're selling through Nexus, but again, more significant portion is going to be our proprietary product line.
All right. Historically, Nexus has generated 15 to 20 million in annual revenue. In the first half of this year, it totaled 6.3 million. Are you expecting Nexus to hit the historical revenue levels? If not, what are the reasons for the lag?
Well, yeah, I believe we're still on target to hit the target, the historics of 15 to 20 mil, somewhere in there. I will say, I think Q4 is going to be the best quarter yet for Nexus. Q4 it's the start of building up that pipeline, that sales channel. I think even with the tariff issue that we've seen in Q1, hopefully we don't have any more of that kind of issues as we go forward here. But I think we're still on target for that 15 to 20 mil.
Are you looking to have any of your TerraSante manufacturing done in the United States to bypass the tariff issues?
Well, right now we're not producing in the US. I will say that I don't see us directly affected by these tariff issues, at least from what we see. That changes day to day, though, in some cases. But fertility products have not been a part of the tariff issues, or sorry, have been slapped with tariffs from what we've seen.
All right. Regarding Terra MG, is there any progress or updates on approvals?
Nothing that I can announce here right now, but work continues to be done. And
You continue to burn cash. When do you expect to become cash flow positive? And what needs to happen? Is it just a certain level of sales volumes or what?
no, I think our target has been for next year. I think we're still on target. I'm not guaranteeing that we'll be positive cash flows next year, but if we see the existing Nexus business grow with new product lines, as I've mentioned, that were being tested this year, we're showing farmers how they work, what they do, and with the results, hopefully the demand will start to pick up on these new product lines, with TerraSante sales starting to ramp up. I think we're going to see our margins start to expand. The product lines that we're bringing on are higher margin than the historic portfolio that we acquired with Nexus. So I think with all of that, there is great potential that we could be positive cash flows next year.
How high could your gross margins go with the new product mix?
I don't know of that. I'd say, with Nexus, you're looking at potentially averaging about 25% margin, potentially with the existing mix and the new product mix, but every product's different.
And the TerraSante would be higher than that, I presume?
Yeah, we can't get into direct, what the margins are. But it all depends of what we see, what the price of the crops are out there, et cetera, et cetera. And we are targeting higher margins than that.
All right. Do you have a specific kind of revenue line? And obviously, it depends on margins, but where you expect if you hit a certain amount of revenues that's a break-even level? And can you comment on that?
No, I mean, I think, we don't have an exact number, but it's again, it all depends on the product mix, and that the newer products that we're bringing on have higher margins than the historic margins. And that 14.7 that we did in Q1, I mean, that's not a good representative of that historic product line. That had some significant tariff issues, not direct, but indirect through foreign exchange, what have you. So the existing product line has a lot higher margin than what we've seen in Q1. And then with the new product lines that we're bringing in, again, these are higher margin products that's going to flow right down to our bottom line.
All right. Can you break down your inventory in terms of, is it mostly raw material or finished product value?
It's mostly finished product. There is some raw material in there, and I think it says in our financial statements about 200,000 or so. But yeah, we are sitting on a little bit of raw material to be manufactured into TerraSante or Terra MG.
Is TerraSante back in stock again? If so, how long were you out of inventory for?
I'd say we sold out of inventory in June-ish. Yeah, production is happening right now, so it's not in warehouse, and when it's produced, it'll be shipped direct to the purchaser.
Can you break down your seasonality more? And are you trying to bring in products through Nexus BioAg that maybe have some better sales during Q2 and Q3 to stabilize revenues better?
It's just the nature of agriculture, in Canada. So if you go back and if you take a look, I guess, if we start at Q1, that's when the farmers are in the field seeding. They're putting the product into the ground. In Q2 is when they harvest their crops, and Q4 is when they really start to build up um, the sales channel. So that's when we'll start to see Nexus type products, or Terra MG, once it's registered here in Canada, really start to see sales, would be Q4 and Q1. So, October, November, December into January, February, March is when farmers start to take possession of that product. Retailers are taking possession, that the sales channel is starting to fill up so that they can use those products and put them in the ground for seeding, which would be April, May type of frame. And then they're harvesting right now in
All right.
Q3.
With your relationship with Bayer, are you able to make any additional comments on how things are progressing and generally characterize the nature of the business development?
Yeah, I mean, there's limited things that I can say other than, from my point of view, things are moving along nicely. There's a lot of work that Bayer is doing. We're in, consistent, I don't know, probably a couple times a month, having meetings with them and it's starting to evolve on the production side and all that kind of stuff. So, things are moving along quite nicely, and I'm very impressed. They're an excellent partner to have.
With the current trials of Terra MG, when the crop gets harvested and you get the results back from that, will you be able to announce any data from that, as in like a biotech study where yields are so much higher, or any other data from the crop and the production?
Yeah, well, we haven't been doing a lot of announcing on results. I mean, we've said from, we back in the day when we were an R&D company, we announced a lot results, but we've evolved. These results, you might see them in our presentations, you might see them in our marketing materials and that, but it's really about showing the farmer how the product works, showing the results of their harvest, comparing our product versus the control. And with positive results, demand is going to start to increase, right, when that product is registered. So we'll be able to hit that ground running. No different with TerraSante in the US. We've spent the last year doing trials with the farmers, with the retailers. I call them farmers, they're large corporations, showing them how the product works, showing the results. At the end of the day, it comes down to yield. And with higher yields, there's demand there. And that's what we're seeing is we've seen positive results. Now with TerraSante, we're seeing orders coming in, significant orders coming in that we have to start filling. And that's what this is all about. This capital raise, which we announced at I guess it would have been the end of July, doing that life offering, that private placement. It's about raising capital to start building up this inventory for TerraSante, and so that we have product to fill the demand that's been growing. So I guess long answer, but results, they're more for showing the farmers the results of them. We know the results, we know their product works, and that it's revenue driven type of results that's really going to show that this product is getting to where it has to be.
When you launch Terra MG, do you expect to get any sort of halo effect where farmers are satisfied with how the TerraSante is working, and they'll maybe be more easier to convince to try the Terra MG and get some synergies from that?
No, no, two different products.
Okay. These were emailed in questions previously and taking questions from the webinar audience here. The Sumitomo partnership ended nearly 1 year ago. Are you seeking a new commercial partnership for the Americas? If so, what is the status of that search?
Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with numerous groups in the Americas, in Asia, where we don't have commercial partners, and we're not actively seeking our own registrations. Yeah, so we're dealing with numerous groups in both those jurisdictions.
Will there be any difficulty in building up inventory for TerraSante?
Well, I mean, there's always going to be difficulty here and there. I think right now it's kind of like I mentioned, it's the chicken and egg. We've got significant orders to fill, and it's about and you just can't produce product overnight. So we need to see how much if we can fill how much of the orders that we can fill this year. But in addition, let's start looking at 2026 to make sure that we have product to hit that market for their spring plant.
Do you have a goal for your eventual gross margin?
As high as possible.
Okay. Could you provide revenue guidance on TerraSante sales for Q3 and Q4 of this year?
No, we don't provide any revenue guidance. Or not, maybe in the future, but not at this time. We don't provide revenue guidance. Yes.
All right. Are tariffs still causing a reduction of sales?
No, I don't believe so. I mean, well, I guess first of all, farmers haven't been in Canada haven't been necessarily purchasing a lot of, we're in the shoulder season. So, most of those inputs that got put down would have been during that tariff spat. And I think that's kind of, it's just like the stock market. Everything's kind of calmed down somewhat. The uncertainty has left. And at the end of the day, the farmer needs to grow a crop and that, and I think that we've moved on from that. Now that doesn't mean that stuff's going to change.
All right. Will your products be used as substitutes for existing or traditional products, or are they complementary and used in conjunction with existing products?
Both, both. I think if you think of Terra MG, it could be a replacement for synthetic chemistries such as metam sodium, chlorpicrin. But in addition, it potentially could be used in conjunction with other chemistries to reduce the load per acre of those chemistries and that. So I think both.
So it may not replace them entirely, but use less of that, and so use a combination of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. How much inventory for TerraSante are you building up for Q4?
Again, I can't give numbers. There's significant amount of inventory being produced here right now, and I believe we continue to produce after.
Is there anything as a shareholder or stakeholder that we can do to help the approval process, i.e. talking to MPs or MLAs?
Yeah, I mean, I think everything's going to help. I don't know how much it would help, but yeah, reach out to your MLA. It's a natural product. We all eat it. It's just it's unfortunate it's taken so long. But on a positive side, we never thought we'd have a biofertility product that we'd be selling in the United States. So, we continue to push forward on our EPA, on our PMRA registrations. We continue, to wait for Bayer to get their registrations in their territories. But as we sit and wait, we're going to be selling our biofertility product in the US and ramping up those sales. And in addition, with our Nexus BioAg division, continuing to drive sales there of third-party products.
Is Kennedy's MAHA or Make America Healthy Again movement, is that at all impacting farmers or consumers, or anywhere you see that with farmers wanting to take on more natural food farming inputs?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm sure it's brought a lot more attention to it, but again, this movement was already happening, and it's not about, it's about, the farmer's number one asset is their soil. For a grain farmer or a fruit and veggie farmer is their soil. So they
Yeah.
need to start thinking about utilizing products, and they are utilizing products that's going to build up that soil. That's what TerraSante does. That's what Terra MG does relative to synthetic chemicals for Terra MG.
Yeah.
It's it the movement's already happening. I believe, obviously, Kennedy Jr. is probably bringing more attention to it, but it was already happening.
Any updates or progress on with the Banana Action Group, and then as well asking about progress with TR4?
Again, Bayer has the ROFR on TR4, so we're looking to do work with them. Not many updates that I can give on that as of right now.
And there's a question about your human health products. Is that being moved forward at this point?
We're still waiting to get results from our partner Agriculture Canada that's doing the testing.
And with that, Corey, we have answered all the questions that have been submitted. I think we've covered a lot of territory. Would you like to make any final comments before we wrap this up?
No, again, thanks, Martin. Thank you all for joining, and we look forward to doing it again next quarter. I guess it would be
All right.
end of November.
Thank you very much, Corey. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the summer.
You too, Martin.